Hey everyone, Indy Mann here. I'm a property developer, property investor for the people who visited the channel first time. That was the information for them. Remember, there's no script, so if I say something wrong, please excuse me because I'm going to carry on. There is no cut, there is no hold, there is no wait because once I start making my videos, I just keep going through them. The reason why I keep looking that way is because I am still at one of our sites. It's a proper total build inside from outside. Back to me. So here I am. So first thing I'm going to tell you today is that when you're project managing, manage it with honesty and always be on top of things. I've said that before, that you need to be on top of everything. Not after a week, after a month, I go and visit how my project is going, or how, even if you're working for somebody else as a project manager, or I'll go and have a look at the end of the week. It's only Monday today. Every day I am at all my projects. Okay, I give 2 hours, hour and a half, an hour, whatever I can to all my projects because like I said before, the mistakes where you can rectify as a project is going on, you can't do that once the work is completed. Okay, but anyway, this video is not about project management. This video is about how we can succeed in property, how you can succeed in property, how I can help you succeed in property, what I've done. I'm going to tell you about that today. All right, so make sure you stay till the end. And so okay, let's start what I'm going to say. Basically, how we can succeed in property. Um, I think the best formula to succeed in property business is that you start small, which works for every business really. But what I'm saying is to start small is that don't go ahead and buy a major project to whether it's to refurb or to manage as a, it could be rent to service accommodation, it could be anything, right? Okay, so even it could be a flat. You don't want to buy a massive flat, or so you don't want to buy a massive house trying to turn into 6 flats as your first project. But if you can handle it, by all means go ahead and do it. But the way I think it works is taking the small steps first, which worked for me myself. uh, take small steps and then build on them. For example, uh, to start with, I mean, when I started back in 2014, when I started learning about property and started working with somebody, learning the trade inside out, I was teaching myself, learning on the way. And when I bought my first project, it was a commercial unit what I bought the first time, and it was only a small unit based in Smethwick area of the West Midlands, close to Birmingham city centre. And the unit was I bought for £60,000, and it was a derelict unit. On the location was good. It was close to Dudley Road, where they're building a new hospital there now. But at that time, the plans were there. I knew that there's going to be regeneration in the area, and so yeah, I bought it for 60,000, and I spent £15,000 on the unit. Uh, I done most of the work there myself. He had a small building on one side, and the rest of it was a yard, which was all covered with, basically it was mud. There was no floor. There was no solid floor there, right? It was just dirt and mud and lots of rubbish. So I cleaned the site up myself. I repaired the roof. The roof on the small unit which was attached to the yard was it was leaking. It was derelict building. I done it up. I painted it inside. He had a massive transformer in that little unit, which was used to back in the day. He used to supply electricity to all the units on the row. I had to have the transformer removed. The way I done that was I didn't pay anybody. I got the scrap people who come around to collect scrap, and there was lots of scrap on the transformer. So I done a deal with them. I said, the transformer was over 6 foot tall. I said, you repair for me from the ground, and you can take all the metal basically. So what that was doing was, it was clearing the site for me, making the unit available to rent. So I done that, and they done that for me, and which was good. So that was using my brain and trying to keep the costs down. It was the starting of my career into property. So yeah, we done that. So I refurbed the unit myself. I sorted the roof out, made it watertight, painted it inside out, made it look nice, and I rented it out, okay, for £500 per calendar month back then. And the yard, which was not rented out, it was derelict. I cleared the yard, got the skips in, and I put a fence around it. I put a gate on it, and I concrete the floor. Once I done that, put it on the market, and I was lucky to sell it for 165,000. So from £75,000 investment, we sold it for 165,000 because the location was really good. Okay, so that was me starting small, and I learned a lot from that unit when I was doing it up. And then after that, I moved into residential, and then I bought my first auction property. Starting in 2018, I bought the auction property because it took me so long refurbing my commercial unit, but I made a good 95,000 pound profit from it, so I didn't mind the time scale it took me, because I've ended up with a huge lump sum of money, which gave me the grant to go and start buying from auctions. Okay, so then when I bought my first property from auction, I bought a small 3-bed house in Wolverhampton in the West Midlands area, which didn't need too much work, but still needed some work doing to it. Okay, and the garden was a jungle, so there was no fence around it, stuff like that. And interior of the house, it was basically, the deco was quite old, 60s 70s deco, so we stripped it all down and refurbed the inside out, the garden, the front drive and everything. And I sold that house for a good profit as well. Okay, but then after that, the next time I bought next property, I went for a bigger house where there was a lot more work needed doing. So what I'd done basically, what I learned from the commercial unit, the way I'd done it, the building and everything, the roof, repairing the roof, stuff like that, repairing the floor, painting, decorating, I took that knowledge to my residential. From there, I'd done the residential property, small house, done it up, learned a lot from that house, and then I moved on to a bigger property, okay, after that. And then the following, once I done that bigger property up, the knowledge I had from that smaller house, I had that knowledge already, and what extra I done in that house, it gave me more knowledge to do a bigger property up. Okay, it gave like pricing and stuff like that, gave me the knowledge of that, so I made note of all that. And then after that, when I moved on to, after that third property I'd done, I started doing, because I was just buying them and flipping them at that time. And then after that, I started thinking that, hang on, I need to start increasing my portfolio as well. Okay, so now from flipping 3 properties, 1 commercial, 2 residential, I moved on to another idea. It's a similar, the base is still the same. Okay, so the base was still to buy the property, refurb it to higher standard, but now I had learned how to do the properties up, the pricing and everything I taught myself. And then I had lists, I had written down that how much a ceiling, how much a roof costs, how many plasterboards roughly we need, or what size in a property of a 3-bedroom house, and stuff like that, how much paint we need or whatever. Yeah, how many pipes we need for plumbing and stuff, like how many radiators, where the radiators should go. So all that, once I've learned all that, and then I implemented that into my 4th property, all the knowledge. But at the same time, I wanted to hold that in my portfolio as my in my long run, for long run basically. Yeah, so where I could enjoy the rent and I could enjoy the capital growth. Okay, so then I looked around and I thought, okay, if I just rent that property out to a single family as a single let, it's going to give me so much. Okay, but then whereas if I turn that property, what I'm going to buy next or what I bought next, to a HMO, it's going to give me a better return. And in a single let, if one family leaves, you got the void period for the whole house, okay? But whereas in a HMO, one person leaves, you've just got that one room which is empty, the other rooms are still occupied, okay? So I wanted more maximum return for my money, basically what I was going to employ in there. So now my challenge was that I know how to refurb a house, but how do you turn a house into HMO? Okay, so that was my next step of learning. All right, so then I started teaching myself about HMOs. I started visiting my friends' HMOs, people I knew they had already HMOs running. Started going and asking. I started reading the council requirements, the local council, what they require, what they want, okay, how it can be, what the minimum room sizes are, what the minimum communal area should be, how many bathrooms do we need in, say, 3-4 bedroom HMO, how many we need in 6-bed HMO, how much space per each person needs in a 6-bed HMO, or where it was 8-bed HMO, they need more space, things like that. Okay, started teaching myself, and then I went and bought my 4th property off the auction again, in Newcastle under Lyme. All right, and I converted it was a 3-bed mid-terraced house. I converted it into a 4-bed HMO myself, and I worked alongside with the local council. They're very helpful, and once I converted it, and then at that stage now, my level of knowledge had increased. So from being able to convert one property into a normal residential house, selling it, then the another one, then when I bought my next one, this one, I turned into a HMO. So as you can, what I'm trying to say here is that the layers of knowledge kept increasing. Okay, my knowledge kept increasing as I kept buying more properties. But at the same time, I started scaling up my business as well. That from just buying and selling one property, now I'm buying it, I'm turning into HMO, I'm refinancing it, and I'm keeping it in my portfolio. Okay, so then after that, I've done a couple of those. I've done one in Yorkshire Hull, I've done one in Newcastle under Lyme. I'll put the photos at the end of this video so you know which one's which, okay? And I will do the figures with you in another video as well. So once I've done a few of those, so my knowledge for that was, I knew what I was doing then, yeah? And then at that point, I started thinking that if I'm going to keep buying one and then doing it up, keeping a portfolio or flipping it, it's going to take me too long to scale my business up. So then with all the knowledge, I started buying 2. Okay, so now every other auction we buy 2 properties, we turn one into a HMO and we flip one. Okay, then in order to do that, you got to have the knowledge of the area where you're buying, where you're flipping, and where it's going to be, if it's going to be a HMO. So that's totally different topic, we can talk about it in another video. But in this video, what I'm trying to say to you is that, to just summarize everything, basically, that if when you start in your business, a property business, start low, at a low level, learn, increase your knowledge. Once your knowledge starts increasing, once you know more about what you're doing, then add another bit to it. So you already know the one piece of the jigsaw puzzle, so you've added just another piece to it which you need to learn. Okay, and you can learn that, and that's how you progress, and that's how you scale up your business. All right, and once you know most of your trade, what you're doing, then there's other ways where you can scale up even faster, where you're not using your own money, you're using other people's money, or you could be using bridging finance. The best thing I've known is that the way you can scale up your business and you can succeed in property and speed you up really quick as well is by using banks' money. Okay, you don't use your own money, use banks' money. Banks always give you money if you're giving them the right business structure, the right deal. They'll always give you the money. Okay, so yeah, so that was my little knowledge tip for in this video. If you need any help, any support, I'll leave the link behind in the bottom, my website. Just come there, leave a question for me. I'm more than happy to help. God bless you all, and keep working hard.